88.1 VOWFM 88.1.
Of course, gives us, but imagine our parents, So they weren't really keen on me getting into the industry just yet. They felt like I needed to do something to fall back on, and so I did. I've got a political degree, and after that, quite literally, I was able to venture into the arts, and I had so much support. And I even feel like them denying me at the time to pursue it immediately was still supportive in itself. And so since then, I've just been like here trying to navigate through it and find my voice.
Wonderful stuff. To you, Rose. Same question, and I'm very curious to get your insight on this, because I think out of all of us in the studio right now, you easily trump me with the amount of time and experience you have. When you would have started in this industry, not only were the times different, but the social climate in this country was different. So much of everything around you was completely different to what it would have been like in her heyday, in everyone's current heyday in this day and age. So please take us through how you got started and how you navigated the climate back then that differs either slightly or vast.
When you were saying this, the first song that comes to mind, it's my favorite song, which is definitely showing my age. Bon Jovi, "Living on a Prayer." And that is exactly how
we don't know anything
I
about
don't know it.
I'm just like we navigated it, because first of all, this ninth floor was our movement floor. So this radio station wasn't here. I mean, I remember walking in, and it was back in the days when we all used to smoke our Camel filters and wear black because we were serious actors learning, training, So
all the crewing and stuff.
Work, you know what I'm saying? You've got to get into your character. So we were really full of ourselves, but just in terms of the structure of how it was also, I mean, I started in 94, so there were a lot of changes that were just happening in the country. I hadn't even really tapped into my identity crisis. So from a political point of view, coming onto Wits, and then suddenly because I came from a very privileged background, suddenly I was faced with the realities of what our country were. And it scared me, but it also scared me because I realized how ignorant I was and how protected I had been. And so the drama side of it helped me tap into my shadows, helped me tap into those areas where I blocked out for so long.
88.1 VOWFM 88.1.
I know you do a lot of that activism and that work, Rosie, like from people that you've spoken to that have been victims of these kinds of things. What do you think it is that we need to do to avail ourselves as a support structure to fellow women in the industry to be able to find a safe space in us to confide and to bring about the awareness of such things happening in our workplaces? Yeah.
Well, remember, just like racism, sexism, patriarchy, we got to unlearn. To unlearn certain things about ourselves is not easy. So forgive ourselves, but go into it intentionally that you're willing to unlearn certain narratives, certain beliefs, particularly the women. I did resign from a TV set, and that's what blacklisted me in the industry as a TV actor, because I refused to take off my clothing for a family show. So that in itself was that, well, why do you want me to do this? Because you know that the channel will never air it anyway. And also just speaking out on sexual harassment. So what I noticed is that, yes, there were certain people that I could confide in, but who know my activism. But the support that I got more were actually from some male colleagues. Because as women, we're also so scared to speak up. So there's the people pleasing, there's, you don't want to be the odd one out. And that's exactly what happened. I knew by taking that stance, but also I was coming from a place of experience. So I knew what, when I had the meeting with the producers and he said, well, you didn't tell us that you weren't going to take off your clothing. I'm like, but it's in the contract that you gave me, clause 20.21. So be equipped. Be equipped of what the space that you're going into. And then just listen. One of the things that, and whether it's in the industry, whether it's in the entertainment industry, in the mining industry, is that everybody relates to trauma in a different way. So some people might want to go the judicial route, and that's okay. Some people might not want to. So if you don't know what to do, ask and just say, I'm here, and ask without judgment. It's very easy to say, well, it happened 20 years ago. Why are you bringing it up now? It wasn't easy to bring it up 20 years ago, folks. Remember, abuse is about proximity to power. So if somebody is connected with the broadcaster or connected with the corporate or connected with the executive producer, it's easier for them to wash it over or throw an NDA at you. And please, I'm going to reiterate this. If somebody just suddenly throws a non-disclosure agreement at you after you've opened up a case of abuse, you are not obliged to sign that. You're obliged to call your union if you're not part of SAGA. And no, I'm not a representative from SAGA, but I do think that they are our body that are representing actors in the industry, is that contact them and then let them handle the dispute. Because what's happening now is that if there's any form of abuse or sexual harassment happening on set, the producers are quick to hand out an NDA, sign it, and then you have no legal right. And then also, if you have signed an NDA in the past, because we know that was modus of a lot of these perpetrators, we've looked at some of those NDAs and they aren't real.
88.1 VOWFM. 88.1 VOWFM. 88.1.
I've always felt like, you know, that thing of oppression, and the oppressed oppressing the oppressor, and then the oppressor oppressing the oppressed, like having that like vicious
Domino effect,
cycle,
yes,
happen. I think it's happening within the women space as well, especially in our industry. I think there isn't a lot of support. We think there isn't support because there isn't a lot of support. I feel like we don't know, how to, and some people come through with this idea of, I took so long to get myself here, and they've got that energy. And I'm here on my own. That it's difficult to approach people, both older, same age group, even younger, to even start a conversation of this particular nature. So I've experienced firsthand where I've had a lot of women that I've looked up to, my own mentors, that I felt I needed to, I wish they could have provided a space for me. And instead, they gave me something completely different. And then now, because I'm empowered and I know better, I find that it's not their fault, right? They also are enablers of this patriarchal society and system in which we live. And so I think the question then becomes, how often are we, or how much agency, how much empowering are we doing for the females and the boys, boys and girls? How much, through arts education, how much are we really doing to get them to begin speaking about these topics, speaking about couch casting at in those spaces, those age groups from, 18 years and above? How are we talking about it? When you are confronted with such an issue, first of all, you know where to go to speak about them, because we know the typical spaces don't listen. So where do we go? The sagas and so on. Also, not an advocate of saga, but hey, doing great stuff. But yeah, like, how do we then also really create platforms amongst ourselves as women who are not just going, I'm here to work and I'm competitive and I'm trying to do this and I get out of my space? How then can we foster spaces like that of wellness? Like really looking at people and being
people.
able as people and being able to go, no, I'm listening, the art of Ubuntu. I'm really trying to, and not letting this industry swallow us in the way that it has. Especially as women,
So also, I love what you said, because the intergenerational approach is incredibly powerful. So as an older woman, I know where I faltered in the past, and in the past, because we didn't know what to do, and we knew what the circumstances were if you did rock the boat. But I want to send the shout out to the younger voices that have guided me, but have also been there for me, who have shown support, or says, Rose, listen, we've got this, don't worry about it, or are you okay? Or actually, what you said there is maybe rethink what you're thinking, because remember, we're constantly rethinking and relearning. So that those intergenerational conversations are so important, even from a mentor-mentee relationship. People just think that you're just supposed to have mentors who are older than you. I have mentors who are 20 years younger than me, because if I want to be working on the ground and finding out what's happening, I need to understand the space that I'm working in.
We are VOWFM. 88.1 VOWFM 88.1